Hello everyone, it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astronumerologist. Welcome to Star Codes. As you probably know, July is dominated by the two eclipses on July 2nd and 16th and a Mercury retrograde that goes all the way through to July 31st. But we also have another celestial event this month. And the month itself in numerology is very important because it resonates to 19. So this is all about new beginnings, and 19 is the Prince of Heaven number, so it symbolizes the sun, our star. There's so much energy that is about enlightenment and delight and lighting up your life in a new way. So the other big event this month is that on July 8th, Chiron stationed retrograde, and it has a retrograde every year for approximately 5 months. But this time, the retrograde began one day after Mercury stationed retrograde on July 7th. So in this episode, we're going to dive into what this particular Chiron retrograde in Aries means, because it's going to be the first retrograde of Chiron in Aries that only takes place in that first sign of the zodiac and doesn't go back into Pisces like it did last year, which means for the first time in human history, we're going to experience this retrograde because Chiron was actually discovered when it was already in Taurus. So we're in for a very powerful ride, and in this case, it has to do with a lot of healing and new beginnings in healing. So we're going to cover the retrograde in Aries, how the new beginnings energy this month, and Aries, the first sign, complete a journey that we began many lifetimes ago, and how this first complete retrograde in Aries marks an important juncture in your life. Now remember, we have the two eclipses happening at the same time as well that also will impact you for 6 months. So we have a huge energy surge happening. So we'll look at which areas of your life are going to be especially impacted. There's also a beautiful trine that Chiron was engaged in that you may already know about from a previous episode where I talked about this trine. And this trine is really supporting you in the most loving environment. And as usual, we're going to end with powerful tips on how to leverage the star codes in your personal life and in your career. Now, the last time Chiron spent time in Aries was from 1968 to 1977, before it was discovered on November 1st, 1977, when it had already entered Taurus. So the current 8-year journey of Chiron in Aries, which lasts through 2027, is the first time in human history that we're aware of Chiron and its existence and impact in Aries. And that means this retrograde, the first complete retrograde in Aries, is an important new beginning of a healing journey in your life. Now, a retrograde of Chiron undoubtedly gives you courage to acknowledge what needs to be healed. And in particular with Chiron, the healing comes through love. Now, Aries initiates and Chiron heals. So you're finding the answers that you've been seeking for a long time, secretly or openly. You've been seeking these answers, or you may be avoiding answers that you've received. Whatever the case may be, the answers are bringing to light what you need to see. And this is all about previous pain, previous hurts that now can be mended and cleared. So whatever's coming up for you, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that is challenging, Chiron retrograde in Aries steers you to go within. A retrograde is always about internal relationships, right? So you are basically being asked to heal thyself. You're awakening to your own inner soul healer. And this is extremely powerful stuff because, you know, Chiron's move into Aries in general was a big deal. But its first complete retrograde in Aries marks such a big moment where these sacred contracts that you have to facilitate your internal resources, meaning your internal courage, your heart-centered initiative, your positive assertion, everything that Aries is, right? Aries speaks to your uniqueness, and Chiron in Aries invites you to accept and express your own individuality. And Chiron retrograde in Aries gives voice to your inner child, following your dreams without excuses, weaving love with initiative into one. So you can really call this an initiation, which Aries is, being the first sign, an initiation of self-discovery. Now, self-discovery obviously begins within, and it's really facilitated by knowing what your own unique star code is. Because the moment that you arrived on this planet had a very special code that was initiated by your parents, the name that they gave you, and of course your soul's decision to be born at a certain time in a certain place. And this gives you and your soul code your destiny, your direction, and your purpose. So you can discover who you are through your code, right, at soul level, in a free class I created for you at starcodeclass.com. It's a free masterclass you can take. It will really help you make the most out of your birth promise, out of your destiny that you set in place, that's revealed in your stars and numbers. So just go to starcodeclass.com. It's all yours, my compliments. So just enjoy that. Now, to recap, last time Chiron spent time in Aries was from 1968 to 1977, when we did not know about Chiron. It had not been discovered. And so now it actually entered Aries in 2018 and then retrograded back into Pisces and entered Aries again in February. Now it's going to stay there till 2027. So Chiron is what I call the sacred healer. I know in the astrology community it's referred to as the wounded healer, but I find that words are so powerful. So when you bring in the word wound, and it's not to say we don't have wounds and hurts and pain, but when you bring that in to describe an actual planet, you are defining a planet and associating it with a negative, with a problem, as opposed to providing a solution. So my personal view of when we name things, like you wouldn't want to name your child something that has a negative connotation, right? So same with the planets in the heavens, right? We want to give them names that are inspiring, that make us feel like we are vibrationally going to a higher level. So hence my renaming of Chiron to Sacred Healer. And so this Sacred Healer, Chiron, describes how events, decisions you make, lessons, activities that you experience lead to a place of healing. I mean, essentially, Chiron helps you to be your own teacher and your own guide. And then, of course, you can help others, guide others. So you're acknowledging, while Chiron is in Aries, your own ability to trust, your own original source of trust, right? It goes within. So you're putting a lot more trust in your instincts. Aries is very instinctual. You're following your inspiration, and inspiration means in spirit. So you're turning within for spiritual nourishment. You're becoming your own medicine healer, your own shaman. So Chiron retrograde in Aries encourages you, like I said before, to heal yourself. So you may be experiencing possibly a health situation or a situation that requires some kind of therapy. It could be any therapy, right? Whatever it is, it requires your attention, and some would call this a healing crisis. Truly what it is an invitation to listen and return to pure love, because love is essentially what heals. And Chiron embodies loving that has been repressed or ignored by bringing it to the surface. You see, that's why it's the sacred healer. Yes, you will see wounds. I agree with that. But you want to acknowledge that the sacredness of being open to the truth is truly what you're going for. The wound is part of the journey that we're here to experience. We all go through pain. We know that we grow when we are challenged. That is all true. But it is not to focus on the problem. It is to focus on the solution. So in Aries, you have the confidence and the fire, the internal fire, to deal with those issues as they come up. Here's the thing, if you want to heal, you have to face the pain. And Aries faces life head on. It is ruled by Mars, and Mars goes for it. And Chiron retrograde in Aries goes to the core of what needs to be healed. If you don't deal with your feelings or physical pain and ignore it, you cut off part of your human experience, your present moment awareness. So Chiron teaches us that pain and healing are part of evolving. So if you feel dis-ease, uneasiness, anxiety, or actual disease, Chiron says that's a beautiful opportunity, sweetheart, to invoke the truth through love, and that creates that sacred healing journey for you, right? Acknowledgement comes first, and then the plan as to how you go about addressing what it is that needs mending. So feeling shame or guilt or inadequacy, it's only an invitation to ask yourself, well, what am I trying to hide? What am I trying to run away from? Whatever that is, become fully aware of it, because it is what you must learn to love. It's all part of you. Every experience you have creates who you are and gives you the tools to understand others. So don't run away from any painful, challenging situation when it appears. It is truly a gift. And it all starts within. So Chiron retrograde every year awakens your search for harmony within. And when Chiron is moving direct, right, which is 7 months out of the year, we tend to look for answers from the outside, which is fine. We can do research, we can see the chiropractor, the naturopath, the acupuncturist, the doctor, the shaman, the spiritual healer, the coach, the mentor. That's all good. With Chiron retrograde in Aries now, we are actively searching for answers within. And we can do that in conjunction with a very trusted guide. That is okay. But we have to apply what we've learned while Chiron is direct. We need to apply it, right? So that way we become our own healer. We're becoming proactive. And especially in Aries, action is the key, right? Because that's when true healing happens, is when you integrate and embody that healing transformation. How else can you receive the answers unless you check into your heart and feel out what truly resonates and what doesn't? No one but you can access that unique wisdom that is true for you, that is aligned with your own soul frequency. No one can do that except you. You are unique, right? So it all begins with accepting that you are unique, accepting your own individuality, that Aries factor, that self-realization, right? The individual fire that is you, that makes you special. And then it continues with, you have this pilot light that is never extinguished. It's your soul. You need to trust your internal healing flame, that pilot light, just like a burner in a stove, right? It's always on. You just turn it on or off depending on what you're cooking, but it's always, the pilot light stays on. So that pilot light is Chiron in Aries, and then it all culminates with all the answers that are contained within you, which is Chiron retrograde in Aries. So Chiron is a very interesting planet because it's not a personal planet like Mars and Venus and Mercury and Sun and Moon. So along with Uranus and Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, Chiron spends a lot of time in retrograde, a long time, 5 months out of the year. So why is that? Because we need to integrate, and it takes time to digest. It takes time to assimilate the energy. And Chiron in Aries now, this retrograde now, makes it very proactive energy. It brings issues to a resolution quickly in order for healing to happen faster, instantly, instant healing, right? This goes through 2027. Remember, we're going to go back and forth through the retrogrades and directs, but we have this ability now for the next many years to experience that love that healed instantly. Chiron love, it governs love and compassion. And it invites love into every part of your life in a conscious, more visible way. So through Chiron, you can release that pain. It'll set you free. Right? Again, Chiron is the soul healer. It's the sacred healer. So, and Aries is the warrior, the Mars action energy. So Chiron in Aries also activates that inner sacred warrior. And so remember, that inner sacred warrior, that energy is what makes you unique, and that is what is revealed in your own code, your own star code. So just go to starcodeclass.com. You will love discovering who you are at soul level. So to recap, you want to be bold in your healing journey now. Healing happens on a totally new landscape now. Remember, this retrograde in Aries starts in July 2019, which is a 19 universal month. 19 reduces to 10 and 1. It's new beginnings. Aries is the first sign, new beginnings. Totally new landscape of courage and action. So allow your inner Chiron to heal you on every level, because Chiron can create amazing miracles. So there's a really powerful opportunity now where Chiron is helping you to be your own teacher and guide. Chiron's retrograde in Aries inspires you to create your own unique path as a healer. I mean, imagine that. Just imagine yourself as a healer. Feel, understand, and accept that you have this gift. So how can you awaken the gift? How can you awaken that sacred healer, the sacred warrior energy while it's in Aries? Well, this is really cool. The glyph, the symbol for Chiron in astrology is a key. And I love this. It's so apropos because Chiron literally unlocks mysteries. You know, what is a greater mystery than the mystery of healing and love? So Chiron is the bridge between the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen, and it really links the macrocosm to the microcosm and back again. That's the key. So it breaks down. So the unlocking of the door breaks down, opens up a new vista. You see a new view. It reveals the minutiae. It collects all the different bits. It puts them together in a big new vision in a higher vibrational state. So what do you call that? Well, I would call that alchemy. So the key symbol in the astrology that describes Chiron unlocks the wisdom that brings energy into a more evolved place. Evolution, spiritual evolution. So Chiron's energy is aligned with love. Love is the greatest healer of all. And the healing process in Aries instills incredible courage, the courage to love more, to feel more, to heal your life. So let me give you a couple tips and takeaways on how to put this Chiron retrograde in Aries energy to good use for your personal, your private life, and your professional, your public life. So first of all, you want to look at what and whom you identify with and learn to accept that it's okay to be you. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel that guilt. Get away from that. Chiron retrograde in Aries asks you to address and heal what's in front of you. And that means looking in the mirror and saying, yes, I love you. That's number one. So take responsibility for all parts of who you are, all parts of your existence, the pain, the healing, the sadness, the joy. And through it all, share your heart, show your heart, show up with complete transparency, no matter what it is. It's only when you don't hide, when you don't feel guilty, when you don't feel ashamed of any part of your life, that you're free to make empowering changes, and that brings healing. It's only when you set yourself free from the judgment. So trust your innate ability, your God-given ability to alchemize any situation in your life. Turn within, listen. You're here for a reason. It's no accident that you're here right now, watching this video, but in general, here right now. So show up in every moment like you're meant to be there. Show up completely, 100%. Your energy in any moment sets the tone for anything that you do or say or think or feel. So be in charge of how you set that tone, because you're here to fulfill a unique mission. So you need to find a way. You need to make a way to solve any challenge, any obstacle as it comes up. Aries is quite relentless energy. It is extremely sure of the direction it's going. It is ruled by Mars. And so Aries has no excuses about the decision that it makes. And this energy with Chiron is actually a beautiful combination. So use that relentlessness. Never stop. Okay? Don't waste time on the problem. Put your Aries Chiron retrograde energy into the solution, and you do that by intuiting and brainstorming what the solution is. Focus on the solution, in other words. And remember, you come from the stars. You return to the stars. You have all the wisdom of the stars in you. So thank you for joining me today. Remember, you can explore your own star code at starcodeclass.com. I highly recommend, if you haven't done so, to discover the secret mysteries and messages in your birthday, in your birth name, and in your astrology chart, including the numbers, the degree numbers in your chart. And really make a point of accepting who you are at soul level, at every level, looking in the mirror and loving what you see, and focusing only on what is proactive, the solution, right? Once you feel what it is you are needing to address, that's all you need to know. The wisdom to address it will come through inspiration. You just have to get to that place of self-awareness and acknowledgement. That's it. And then, hey, you make that decision and the energy lines up and you're taken care of. So have a beautiful week. I'll see you in next week's episode. Lots of love.